If you could make one new cultural rule that everyone had to follow, what would you do?
That's a good question. I guess the funny one is that everybody has to walk faster on the sidewalk. That's just like a big pet peeve for me is slow walkers. But that's not any kind of like important cultural thing. I don't okay, this is more like of a legislation. I would like get rid of an OnlyFans. I would make it, or if I couldn't like do that, I would make it like so socially impermissible to like make and sell your body online. I think it is so harmful for, we talked about this in the last episode extensively. I think it is destructive to men. I think it is destructive to women. It is one of the leading causes of divorce in America.
Is it?
Yes.
How?
It's crazy.
I thought it was money was the leading divorce.
I think that is probably the leading, but it's like cited in over half of divorces as a major problem. And I think a lot of guys look at it as, it's so commonplace now. So and it is so accessible. Like this is something I've talked with, my mom and older friends of mine, and people I work with who, it used to be something like you'd go to the movie theaters and you have to like sit around a bunch of people and you'd see like a or whatever. And you'd get like these magazines and it's in all the, 90s movies. If you'd hide them under your bed, it's like in our phones now. It's like on Instagram, we're fed, basically soft. It's very easy to go on a myriad of different websites. It is free. It's just in your pocket and it's accessible and it's private. And so I think because of the accessibility, it's just become normalized. And I think that a lot of people see it as just innocent and like a means to an end and like, oh, I get off, I'm not dating anybody, whatever it is, and that it's harmless. But it has such a detrimental effect, not only mentally and on relationships, but also physically. There's so many studies, especially with men, of how it impacts your hormones and your, you basically just like fry your brain, which then impacts how you are physically able to engage in sex and physically like connect with a physical partner.
Couldn't you say that also about a lot of things like alcohol or TikTok or Instagram, really anything that isn't good for you, sugar?
Yeah.
You could say that that's also kind of destroying your brain.
Yeah, for sure. I think that it has another level because I think that it has, and maybe it's more similar to like a TikTok or whatever. I would like differentiate it between a drug, and I put like sugar in the drug category because it acts as a drug. It's very addictive. But in terms of like TikTok and social media addictions and that kind of thing, I think that it fries people's brains in that regard. But I think it's even more sinister because that it impacts families and marriages in such a detrimental way. And if I could just like wave a wand and rid society of it, I would. But it's like, is that legislatively even possible? Would that cause I think it's really hard to, just based on how I look at it and how I look at the impacts that it's had culturally, I think it's very easy for me to be like, yeah, I just want to get rid of it. I want to do away with it. The principles and implications of that, of, government overreach, of banning something. We have this whole conversation about TikTok, and a lot of people want it banned purely because of the same kind of results of, I think that's a dangerous game to play. And I even waver on that of like, how far is too far, and what are we, what measure is government taking to actually protect its citizens, and what is overreach? And so while I would love to just like, if I could do away with it and have no repercussions on, any negative repercussions on how government operates and overreach in that regard, I would. But I think it's a lot more complicated than that. And that's why I think that it's a cultural issue rather than legislatively. But the legislative things that I think need to happen are happening, with like requiring to have age verification laws. Like that should be a no-brainer. Like, and the fact that instead of changing their business model and putting in age verifications, they just say, okay, we're just not going to be in Alabama. We're just not going to be in Texas.
Right.
And like, that's so weird.
I think a lot of people are concerned about a leak like that.
Yeah.
Like, what was that one, the affair website? Was it?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Whatever, they had that leak.
Mm-hmm.
And then now all the wives could go on, like, search this
And
leak and
see,
find all their husbands on there. And
Oh,
be
yeah.
like, oh
If there's
my God,
all of this.
Person.
Yeah.
So I think that people are concerned if, like, there is a database of, like, my ID and information on...
Yeah.
If that gets leaked out there and you get to, like, just type in Jack Selby and you see his name everywhere.
everywhere.
Like, why are you bringing me
It's like
into this?
20 plus pages.
Every website is just Jack Selby's on there.
Yeah. And unfortunately, like, and maybe this is me being, playing hardball with it, but I'm like, with those sites where all of, I think there was a couple of like congressmen that were terrified of like, their names getting leaked, and they ended up getting leaked. Actually, that, who was the guy who, somebody was on Sean's show and he was talking to me about it, where actually he was one of the people that like hacked one of those websites and had that whole database, and the FBI was like banging down his door trying to get it because they knew that there were names on it. And it was a website. And it's like with things like that, especially with like I don't care about your privacy, whatever. And I think it's obviously a little different but also if there is that, I would love it if it was something that people were actually, we were talking about the importance of like embarrassment and shame. I think that right now it's something that is so commonplace, but I think that it should be something that it's like, this is not a good thing. You should know that probably what you're engaging in is incredibly unhealthy and is not making you a better person and is not helping your relationship or your marriage or your status in the dating market. And that's a net bad thing. It's like doing drugs. You should know that what you're doing is not good for you. And I think there should be a level of that, James. So I feel less sympathetic to if your name gets out. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. What about OnlyFans?
This clip is brought to you by our sponsor, Aura. Have you ever Googled yourself or a loved one and been absolutely shocked by all of the information that's publicly available online? Well, I did it recently, and it was really scary to find private information that was readily available on public data broker sites. Well, if you're scared about something like this too, that's where our sponsor, Aura, comes in. Not only does Aura monitor your personal data across the web, but it also helps you opt out of those invasive data broker websites. Plus, they offer identity theft protection with up to $5 million in insurance for your whole family, financial fraud alerts, and even a VPN to keep your online activity private. Personally, I'm not willing to leave my information and my family's security vulnerable, and you don't have to either. Go to aura.com/icedcoffeeclips to try it out for 2 weeks for completely free. And literally in just minutes, Aura will let you know if your personal information is exposed. Head to aura.com/icedcoffeeclips to see why it's worth it and protect what matters most. Seriously, guys, it's just 2 weeks completely for free. Try it out with the link down below in the description or aura.com/icedcoffeeclips. Thank you to Aura for sponsoring this podcast.